Hi everyone, this is Martin from How to Make Mobile Games, and today I'm going to start a new series of videos on mobile games and for the How to Make Mobile Games channel, which kind of focuses on the business of mobile games and how to make money and how to grow a business in the mobile game space. So for those of you who don't know, I basically we run another business which is called Cobalt Play, and we develop iPhone and Android games with that business. And they're generally kind of small casual games. Some of them do have social elements, like you can connect on Facebook and play online and so on. So, I wanted to make this a part of the How to Make Mobile Games page and the whole business as well, so that you guys can sort of have some direction on how that works and have some insight into how the world of mobile games works in terms of making a business and building revenue on that business as well. So the plan is for this series of videos is it's not a tutorial as such, but it's more to give you guys some advice and some insight and to have a sort of conversation with you guys. When you drop comments or give me a message, I can sort of reply and focus on those areas in this series of videos. Questions that relate to the business of mobile games and where the opportunities are perhaps and what the challenges are and so on. In our business Cobalt Play, we've been doing this now for roughly 1 year and 3 or 4 months or something like that. And it has steadily sort of grown over time in terms of the number of games and in terms of revenue and so on. But that wasn't easy. That was a lot of hard work and a lot of learning and a lot of experimentation, trial and error and so on. And a lot of long nights coding. So, that's I might also include a video on sort of the difficulties of being a sort of an indie mobile game developer, and that's really where this video series is coming from. The goal is here to give beginners a sort of insight into the world of mobile games and the business, and mainly to sort of focus on the independent or small business of mobile games, not large publishers that might have a large budget to make big sort of MMO games on a mobile, or very detailed 3D games like say Need for Speed on mobile or something like this. It's very much independent how to do this yourself with a small team. So we're going to cover a lot of subjects, and I'm sort of going along here in a kind of style which might be a little bit on the fly, and the goal is to have this series directed by you guys. So if you want some advice on, say, investment and how to get that, or if you want to know how much money mobile games make in general, like from successful to not so successful games, then please drop a comment, and I'm happy to sort of talk about those and give you a stronger insight into the world of mobile games and the business of it. So I'm just going to go through my points here and just sort of talk and not make this video too long, and then just make these into a smaller set of videos. So, I think a lot of the questions is a lot of things I do hear in sort of people who want to come into the mobile space in build games for, say, iPhone, for example. This still happens quite a lot, whereby I think people are surprised that when they build an application or a game and it goes into the iPhone market and becomes available on iPhone and iPad, they're very surprised about how little money that game makes. I suppose as well in the beginning we were quite surprised as well that a year and 3 months ago. I think because we read the big stories, we read the successes, of course, we hear about those, especially games like Tiny Tower, and Angry Birds and so on. But the fact of the matter is that, like any business where there's money to be made, there's going to be a lot of competition. That's just true, and same for iPhone and Android and mobile games in general. I think at the moment, as I've jotted down here, is that I think at the moment there's 500,000 applications on iOS alone around. I've not checked that number recently. This is just a rough estimate, but it is a big number like this, and I think it might be around the same or even more on Android as well. So it presents the problem of visibility and how to get a game found, and that means that making mobile games there's a lot of competition, and making revenue, obviously there's a kind of scramble for that as well. So, but that's not to put you guys off at all. I think making mobile games is awesome. It's a great business, and I recommend anybody who's interested in games to go for it 110%. Just be aware that if you do go into the mobile games business with the idea of putting money in there and then expecting that money to come back quickly, it might not happen as fast as you had previously thought, and you might go through a lot of trial and error before you get that initial investment back. So, just so you know, there's a lot of competition out there, so be ready for that, and just stay at the front of the wave of whatever is new and whatever's happening. So, for us, I think the business model is in mobile games. I speak with a lot of developers, and I speak with a lot of producers, and speak with a lot of publishers in the industry as well, and I also read a lot about these things. And quality is obviously a major factor in building any kind of product or service. Of course, it has to be good in order for people to tell their friends, especially in games, to tell their friends, to stick with the game, and to eventually monetize from that player, and hopefully they'll buy something in the game, or you'll make revenue somehow with the players that you have. So, but the question is, obviously, for an independent perspective, is how long do we spend on a game? Now, for our business, Cobalt Play, we've traditionally kind of done shorter games, and around January this year, 2012, I started to make a lot more smaller games, but a lot faster. So the goal was to finish one game every 3 days. I couldn't make that goal. I think I made that goal for the first few games in the X series. We have a series of games called the X series that all share a similar style, and are kind of meant to be old school, retro-looking games like arcade games. Therefore, the graphics were fairly easy to make, and the gameplay was easy as well. So, with those types of games, though, because they're so quick, the gameplay is good, the gameplay is strong, but obviously it doesn't go through all that testing and tweaking and balancing, and obviously the artwork is not amazingly colourful and doesn't have all these beautiful things. But there is a market for this old retro style game. But the point is that there's a kind of balance. I think a lot of developers inside of the industry do want to make games quickly, but of course quality comes first, and that all depends on how much money you have to make that game. Are you going to spend 4, 5, 6 months on a game, or do you want to finish 10 games in 6 months? And you can build those games fairly quick. What I have found is that originally when we were making games that were taking roughly 2 to 3 months, the games that I was coding, they didn't make as much revenue as the new games make, when those new games only took me 1 week to make. So original game might have taken 2 months to 3 months, something like that, and it does okay. But I could finish, say, 3 or 4 games in that time now, and that would make more revenue. So it's really, I think that's the way that we sort of handle that model, because we are a very independent developer. So it's something that you've got to think about. And do you want to spend a long time, or do you want to make a lot of small, quick games that do monetize quite well? Say funny, casual games that really get viral and catch the eye of people, and sort of people pass it around. And you've probably seen those similar types of apps as well. So it's something to think about: making quick games, or making games that take a little bit longer. And I can talk about that more later as well. The big new sort of model inside of mobile gaming and gaming in general, and it's not new, it's been around for a while, but it's called Freemium Games. And this is really for the beginners out there. I know a lot of developers will already understand what this word freemium means. But it's basically having a free game. The player can download it for free, like you've seen on the iOS App Store or on Android. But then inside the game you have microtransactions. You sell people weapons, you sell people swords, you sell them coins so that they can buy things, whatever it may be. And that's powerful because it gets you a lot of downloads, and if the game is good quality, people will like it and they will pay for something in the game. And what you'll probably find as well is that generally say 90% of the revenue comes from 10% of the users. So always have something big that they can buy. Have $10, $15 purchases in there, because you might find some whales or people that are okay to spend a lot in games, and they'll be happy to play the game and pay for those things because they love it. So that's great. So always maximize that one. So that's the freemium model. It's free, but you do have some in-app purchases, or you have some ads in the game, and if the user taps on those ads, then you make some money. There is, of course, the traditional model, which is like on iPhone and Android, the 99 cents purchase, which is pretty prominent now. but not as prominent as freemium. I mean, when it was first released, when the iPhone App Store first came out, everything was 99 cents, and it quickly dropped to that level. So the paid model does still work, but we're completely freemium at Cobalt Play. All of our games are free, and we all have in-app purchases. They have ads in the game, and they also have some kind of microtransaction inside the game as well for the majority of the games. So that's the two business models. You got to think about it. If you're building a business for mobile, is it free or is it going to be paid? I personally prefer freemium because you're going to get all those users downloading. But at the same time, now the question is visibility. So many other games out there are also free. So how is yours going to get visible, and what is going to be your niche, or what is your target going to be in terms of the type of game? So those are things just to think about as well.